YouTube, what is going on? Crowder here, and I'm bringing you guys the movement guide video that you guys were asking for. And I know this is not going to be some crazy advanced tips, slide cancel, all that kind of stuff. It's just going to be basic tips of how to move better in Modern Warfare 2 to help you get some more kills. Let's get right into it. So the first tip that I'm going to show you is actually settings really quick. So I know we've went through settings before. Now that team scrims between the professional teams are starting to go like back and forth, and I'm actually getting to, work with the players that I coach and all that stuff. There are some settings that are actually really important in my opinion, and I'm going to show you them real quick. So first you go to your controller settings and then you go to advanced, and all you're going to do is make sure that your tactical sprint behavior is actually single tap run instead of auto tactical sprint or anything of that sort. I actually have auto tactical sprint completely off. And the reason why is that in this game specifically, if you go back to the game, a lot of the times actually walking around is really important, and you cannot do that when you're on auto tactical sprint. So it actually kind of hurts you more than it helps you. And especially with no slide cancel, you probably really want to make sure you're using your tactical sprint at smarter times and you're able to actually do the bot walk, or that's what I like to call it. It's the bot walk. When you're walking around corners, you can get your ADS up in time and react faster. So going back to the settings, what this single tap run does is actually allows you to use your tactical sprint with one tap of your stick instead of double tapping it over and over and over again. That's really bad for your controller. It actually breaks your controller over time, and it's going to save you a lot of money from, just not breaking your controllers and having to buy new ones over and over again. So this is a really good setting. I'm pretty sure this is actually not even allowed in the pro play because of how good it is. So I would recommend using this if you're not a pro player, of course. And then the other setting that I recommend changing that a lot of pros have been doing, and I actually do recommend it myself, is the invert slide. Make sure you have it on inverted, and all this is going to do is actually make it tap to dolphin dive and actually hold to slide. And the reason why you want to do that is sliding's really not that good in this game. So a dolphin diving is probably a little bit better in my opinion. I want to show you why, or the reasons why I think it is. So I definitely recommend using that as well. It's just a little bit easier to dolphin dive and, just be more mobile on the map. First tip here, guys, is actually going to be the drop or the jump shot. I'm sorry, the jump shotting. And the reason why people are always confused when I say this with this game is jump shotting has gotten nerfed a lot. There's no bunny hop. You can't do the whole crazy bunny hop thing anymore. And jumping really does make your aim like really, really shaky. But I'm not telling you when you're in a gunfight like this and you're shooting to jump all over like this and just go crazy. That's not exactly what I mean when I say jump shot. What I mean when I say jump shot is using your tactical sprint and jumping around corners to break someone's camera. That is probably the most useful mechanic in this game right now. And what it looks like is when you use your tactical sprint and you jump a corner like this. And when you're using your tactical sprint, that is when you are moving your fastest that you possibly can. And when you're moving really fast, that's how you're going to break someone's camera. And if you don't know what that means, is basically when you turn a corner really fast, if you turn it very, very slow, you don't have what they call peeker's advantage. So if there was someone on this side aiming like this right now, like waiting for someone to turn the corner, if you turn this corner slow, you're probably going to die almost every single time. But if you turn this corner with your tactical sprint and fast, you turn the corner so much faster than they can actually react that you have the peeker's advantage to get the first bullet or two off before they can even react. And that's why you see a lot of pro players that play really aggressive not always have to pre-ADS something and get those easy kills, because they're breaking cameras and they're doing a lot of mechanics that is actually very helpful for them to get that peeker's advantage. So if you ever find yourself, really getting cambered, or people are turning corners and killing you and you're like, you don't know why, it's because the other players are using their movement in a really good way. So what you want to really do is jump around corners and use the aiming tips that I gave you in my other video to really center your aim and jump around corners and use your tactical sprint. And you do that, and every single time you jump corners, it's going to help you turn the corner faster, catch your enemy off guard, and it's going to be really, really important. Now, when I bring this up, a lot of people say jumping and ADSing actually slows down your ADS. So the big thing that you really want to practice with this, again, and these are very basic tips, but what you want to practice is when you do jump the corner, you either want to jump the corner and play from the hip first, just like that. But if you're not going to play from the hip and you're not using a submachine gun and you're more of an assault rifle guy, you want to jump the corner, but time it where as you're jumping, and as soon as you jump, you're also ADSing at the same time. So by the time you land with your jump, your sights will actually be up and you'll be ready to shoot. So it's going to look something like this. Instead of just jumping, landing, then ADSing like that. So if it was going to be like this over and over and over again, it's very slow. What you want to do if I was turning this corner in the back left is you want to jump, ADS, and then boom. And as soon as I landed, my ADS was actually ready to go and I was able to shoot, and I could strafe and I could do all these crazy things. And that's where it's going to be really, really helpful, is when you time your jumps, when you time your ADS, and you'll always have your sights up. And it's like predicting people like this. So you're jumping around the corner like that, and you can obviously keep doing so. You can jump the corner. It's really, really good to help you catch enemies off guard, break those cameras, and it's probably the most important mechanic right now in Call of Duty. The next tip that we're going to be talking about, guys, is the drop shot. And basically, the drop shot is the most, the oldest mechanic in the Call of Duty book, right? Like, everyone knows what the drop shot is, and drop shotting in this game is kind of clunky, and it's not like very, very fast, and it's not the best mechanic to use if you're just like straight up like standing out in the open gunfight just like that. The number one way I would recommend drop shotting in this game is actually using it around corners. So a big thing that you can do, instead of like, you know, jumping corners, and maybe you're not the best player, or maybe you're not the most cracked out aimer and all that stuff, right? You know, the jumping mechanics that I was telling you might not be for you. And all these mechanics that I'm showing you are not like do or die. If you don't do these like the slide cancel in MW 2019, you're going to be bad. These are just some simple tips to help you out, and just in general of obviously maybe you're not a jump shotter and you're a drop shotter, right? So what you want to do instead of like, you know, jumping the corner sometimes is also drop shot it. So what you can do is not just turn the corner fully like this, drop, and then shoot. You can see how long that takes, right? What you really want to do is get to the corner, and as you're tactical sprinting, if you're really good at this, you do the tactical sprint and then drop like that. As you're dropping from like cover, and then as soon as you time your drop, you would be at the end of your drop right there, and you're ready to take a fight. And they're never going to be expecting a corner of like, if you're pre-aiming this, they're never going to be pre-aiming down low, and they're going to be like waiting for you to do a drop shot around the corner. No one predicts that, right? And that's the best way to like, you know, really explain what I mean, is dropping around corners and using that to kind of give yourself some cover, but also get down and be like a little bit more unpredictable and a harder kill. And a lot of times this is going to work. And you see a lot of really good players, if they're like running away, right, and someone's chasing them. If I was getting chased right here and I turn the corner, there's two things I can do from... There's two things that I can really do from this moment. It's either I can jump back... Bro. There's two things that you can really do from this spot. It's either you can jump and turn the corner and like catch them off guard while they're in mid-sprint of chasing you, or what you want to do is you can wait and then lay down like this and actually catch them in mid-sprint, and they'll never expect you to be down here when you're obviously like re-challenging them. And that's what so many good players do, is like when someone's chasing them, they're never going to expect that reach out. And when you actually do reach out with either a jump shot that I just showed you or dropping the corner, it's going to catch a lot of people off guard, and it's going to look something like that. And it's a really good way to just kind of peek corners in a different way. And again, it might fit your play style a little bit more. This is probably even better for some of the slower players, because you really don't want to do all those jump shot mechanics all the time. So you can just do a lot of the drop shots that are really, really helpful. And again, with that drop shotting mechanic, the biggest thing for it is just trying to really make sure you're timing it as you're laying down. You're getting to the edge of the wall and actually getting ready to fight. So you can use the wall as cover, and then boom, at the end, again, time that perfectly, and it'll help you out tremendously. So the next thing with drop shotting, and this is the weird mechanic, kind of a bonus one that I don't really think is like the best thing to always try and do, but a big thing when a lot of people do get into fights right now is when they get into a fight in the middle of the open like this, and there is no wall to do this drop shot mechanic that I was just showing you. What you really want to do is make sure that you actually know the other one. So if you're in tac sprint and this guy were to catch me off guard, what I just did right there is in the middle of the tac sprint, I am like this, and if you pull backwards on your left stick, just like this, so if I'm in the middle of tac sprint and I'm pulling backwards, every single time, you see how I'm going backwards? If you do that while dropping out of your tac sprint, your character doesn't do that long, clunky, like, you know, animation that it looks like. He actually instantly drops, and it's going to look something like this. And even though it doesn't look like that on your screen, so me doing it right now, I'm in the middle of a tac sprint, and then boom, you can see how like long it still takes me on my screen to go down. As I'm doing this, it's still going to make sure that it actually does the animation on their screen where you instantly drop to the floor. And that can actually really catch people off guard. And that's a really good mechanic to do if you are just running in the open and you do get caught in that middle of the tactical sprint like this. If you get caught like this, all you have to do now is actually just do that mechanic that I just showed you. This might help you out, get that easy kill. So if this guy was going to catch me off guard, I can pull back. I pull back on my left stick and drop shot. And every single time you do that, you actually have that instant drop shot mechanic, and it'll catch them off guard, and then boom. So this is not something that you always want to play for, but this is something that you really do want to keep in like just like your booklet of like things that you know that you could do. So if you can get into the habit of doing that when someone does catch you off guard, it'll actually be really important, right? So I think that's probably the best way to explain that, is just have that in the back of your mind when you're running around. So it's like, oh, this guy catches me off guard, easy kill, boom. The final basic tip that I'm going to give to you guys, and the reason why you change the one setting from inverting your slide and diving, is because I think that dolphin diving is actually better in this game than you really think it is. And what I mean by that is sliding really doesn't get you anything. So I would say the best thing for sliding is when you're sliding around. It's probably the best way to disengage. There are some ways to do the slide cancel. I'm going to show you this like just for this video. And again, this is more basic. If you want some more advanced tips or some other stuff of like just things that a lot of pros are doing, obviously comment down below and maybe I'll make a video on that, like a shorter video of just like things like that. But you can definitely slide like this and then YY and then, you know, do the slide cancel like that. it's not going to be the best like way to engage stuff. And I really wouldn't recommend you doing this over and over and over again, because even with you sliding, you're not moving very fast. It's still kind of clunky, and like you're still not getting the most of like what you really want. Like, to be honest, like jump shotting's way better. You're turning corners faster. I wouldn't really recommend that slide too much. The only way I would say is if you're disengaging, or if every once in a while you want to slide and like just slide around the corner, what you really want to do is try and time the end of your slide so you're ready to fight as the like you're turning the corner. So it would look something like you're running, slide, and boom, I can like kind of slide and fight, instead of like, you know, running, sliding, and then doing it. Like, you really want to make sure you're kind of almost doing it into the doorway. So you like kind of do this and then boom. And that's like probably the only way you can really use this one. Again, this is not the best slide cancel mechanic, like in the sense of like using it. But if you really want to know some more of those, I could probably make a whole nother video on that. But for now, we're just going to be talking about why I think dolphin diving is really good. And dolphin diving is something that resets your tactical sprint. We've talked about how to reset your tactical sprint already by just, you know, either doing a melee and then keep it moving, or you can do the dolphin dive. And every time you dolphin dive, you kind of tactical sprint for a couple seconds, dolphin dive, get up, tactical sprint. Dolphin dive, get up, tactical sprint. If you really want to move around the map the fastest, that's probably the best way to do it. Or you can obviously do the tactical sprint by meleeing in the air and then continuing the run. But dolphin diving is a very, very good way to kind of get to cover. And I'm going to kind of like combine these two mechanics for you. Is you use your dolphin dive to get to cover, and then you use that cover to do what they call snaking. If you don't know what snaking is, that's probably the most helpful tip of this entire video. Say this guy is right here on my screen, right? I want to dolphin dive to this car. I dolphin dive to this car. I see him. Now, what most casual players do is now they just get back up, stand straight up, and take the gunfight and kill the guy. If you kind of get to this car and like you lay down and you just get back up slowly like that, you're probably going to die. Or if you don't hit really good shots, it's going to be a sketchy gunfight. What you really want to do here is actually dolphin dive to this car and then do what they call snaking. And snaking is basically when you get all the way back up, but then lie back down right away. And it's going to look like something like this. As like you're getting back up, you're also using your sprint, your single tap to sprint, to like sprint out of your lie down to get out of it faster, but then to lie back down just as fast again. So you're going to lie down, sprint to get out of it, lie down, sprint to get out of it. And it's going to look something like this. And if you use this mechanic, what you're going to be doing on your screen is actually doing what, you know, what it looks like right here, right? But on their screen, you're actually behind cover for probably the entire time that you're doing this. If this was a solid piece of like cover right here, so like something like this car, you would be behind this cover the entire time, and they wouldn't be able to see you, but you would actually be able to see them for that split second, like over this end of the car. I can see like over the end of the car. They can't really see you when you're in that mechanic. And by doing that, you'll be able to actually time when you want to shoot. So if someone was pushing me and I was doing this mechanic of just snaking over and over, I can go like this and then boom. I will never ever die in that scenario because I'm choosing when I want to shoot. I'm choosing when I see them sprint, and I'm also choosing when they want, like when I want them to see me or not. So if I was just again seeing this guy and he was trying to push me, if I was going to continuously snaking like this and then boom, I'm probably going to always avoid their bullets or make it a really, really hard kill. If not, lucky kill for them, even kill me. And that's why I think dolphin diving is really important. Not only does it reset your tactical sprint, but it's a very good way to use it to dive to cover, then to have something to use that cover and like obviously snake. So if like I saw someone down this street, like over here, I can dolphin dive like off this, and then here I can just, you know, again, use that, boom. I can like, you know, it's like snake and shoulder, boom. And you see a lot of good players do stuff like this, and it's just something that's going to be really, really helpful. Even in a building like this, if I was holding this, I can like kind of just do this over and over again. And if I catch him in the timing of this, he's probably going to run into this building, not even really see me that well. And then I'm going to pop it up and then just being able to be able to get the kill. So if I just keep doing this over and over, I can keep doing this. And then again, as they run in, they can't really see me. And then you just keep doing this and boom. And every single time you do something like that, it's going to help you get easier kills. And I think it's really important that you guys know why dolphin diving, if you're going to use your dolphin dive to get the cover, just like this, and then you can snake up and then boom. Every single time. It's really, really important. I think it's better than the slide cancel. I know I showed you guys that slide cancel thing just for a bonus for this video. If you guys want some more like advanced tips, leave a comment below and drop a like. But I think that's all of the basic movement tips for you for now. Again, I told you this wasn't going to be like some wild, crazy video that you need to do and, you know, all this other stuff. You'll suck at Call of Duty if you don't. I just think this will help a lot of different kind of play styles out there. Hopefully these tips do help you out. If they do, please drop a like and a comment on the video. You know, it goes a long way for me. I appreciate you supporting the content. Honestly, the content's been getting crazy lately, so thank you guys all so much for supporting me, and hopefully you enjoyed this video. And if you guys did, again, it's been your boy Crowder. I'll see you guys next video.